This is CyberSound, your simplified and fundamentals-focused source for all things cybersecurity.
Welcome to CyberSound. I'm your host, Jason Pufahl, joined today by Michael Grande and Steve Maresca virtually. Hey guys.
Hey there.
And you know we've got a real special guest because we've got Eric Levesque, who is the owner of EDL Creative, and I'll say the creative mastermind for all things CyberSound. I think honestly, since like it might have been episode 1. I don't remember if it was episode 4.
I think we're like in the tens. Yeah.
I mean, it's been
Early
a long
on,
time.
It's been a long, it's been a lot. I've gone through a lot of iterations.
He's listened to a lot of podcasts on a variety of subjects, and I'm sure a few subjects that he wishes he never had to learn about.
Yeah.
And I've actually learned a ton on this podcast, and it's actually very awkward to be on the other side right now. So,
and I do want to acknowledge you suffer with us in the overeating room as well.
Great point.
An overheated room, sweating in the corner. So essentially, everything that anybody's heard or seen, certainly seen, has been a result of your engineering, and you're taking a room that is definitely not designed to be a studio and trying to turn it into a studio. So we've appreciated that for sure.
Well, I appreciate you guys too. Easy to work with. We always have a good time.
So in fairness to Eric, we did ask him to be on the podcast about 60 seconds ago because and he's a good sport and said, it'd be fun to do. So we created, I'll say Steve did all the work for the recent, fully AI generated podcast. And when we were chatting a little bit about, sort of what it took to put that together, and I think Steve, it'd probably be worthwhile spending a second on that. I think just to give people clarity.
Sure.
We also then kind of really, really discussed how AI has been an influence or had influence on the work that you do on a day-to-day basis, Eric. So why don't we do this? Maybe if you can introduce yourself for a minute and just a little bit of background about sort of who you are, what your company is, and then we'll sort of segue into that.
Yeah, so like you said, I run EDL Creative, which is really just me. I specialize in video production, and I do kind of any kind of project from like small one-man band type things to big like television commercials with 20-person crews. Kind of adjust myself to my needs of my clients, and that's kind of worked for me over the past going on a little over 4 years now that I've been on my own doing this. And like I said, running the podcast with you guys is one of my favorite things that we do every month. But working alone, I hire people on set and everything, but other than that, I'm by myself. So, some of these AI tools are just really beneficial. Like even just going to like the good old Chat GPT, if I have to write proposals, if I have to write even some concepting, it's like, if I worked at an agency, I would have a junior copywriter or copywriter. I'm not a copywriter. So I can use Chat GPT to kind of kick me off. I would never take that and just give it to somebody, right? Like write a script on there and just pass it off, but kind of like get me started a little bit, get the juices flowing. Like I said, I'm a one-man team, so I've got to kind of do it all on my own. So all of these tools really supplement my day-to-day, and it's really, really beneficial. Aside from Chat GPT, we talked about some of the voice cloning technologies too. And where I can't fabricate, what somebody says, but if I do an interview and someone kind of flubs a very important line, like if we're doing a bank story and they're talking about a 5% interest loan or something like that, and they flub that line and we didn't notice it on set, I can kind of go in, clone it, fix that line, little things like that. On-set audio, the audio tools now that are kind of coming bundled into all the softwares I already use, but you can film or record an interview in a very loud, noisy room, and as long as your microphone is close to the person that's talking, you can take out all of that noise. So it really, where I can't have the budget to hire a great sound guy all the time or secure the perfect location or things like that, it really kind of helps, streamline the process, keep me busy, keep my clients happy with fair budgets. And it really helps every day. It's just something I use, and it helps me stay in business and help keep people going. So,
it's cool use cases, because I feel like whenever we talk about it, feels a little bit more mundane than that. Like it really feels like you're using it now in a way that saves a little bit of money, but allows you to really augment your staff, which is what everybody always talks about with this, right? Like sort of mimicking that.
Right.
It's really practical, straightforward use cases that aren't wildly technical necessarily.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with it too, because I don't want to like put myself out of a job, right? You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that it can do. You get a little worried in certain things. I worry about people in the voice industry because if I don't have a budget and I need a 10 or 30-second VO, like I can generate a really good version of that, and that I do feel for the people in some of these industries that could suffer. But I think like I stay in real, most of my work is for businesses that want to tell their stories. So authenticity and real people, real events, real things, that's not going to go away. And for me to capture that is good. But when you need to fix something, or streamline a process a little bit, the tools come in very handy.
Yeah. So Steve, if you could spend a minute on what you did to create that last podcast, because that's certainly a heavier duty way than Eric's doing in terms of a 30-second voiceover.
Yes. So this, because we haven't been exactly direct about it, this is the time to own up for those that didn't notice. The last podcast was about OpenAI's Sora 2, which is a video generation model that they use and have launched the social platform for. Please see that for the actual content discussion. But at the end, we revealed that the entirety of it, including my voice and Jason's voice, were 100% synthetic. This is the sort of thing that we have talked about in the context of risk, right? The types of things that we addressed in that podcast and in prior about, millions of dollars truly being lost due to fraud and deepfakes and things of that variety. However, the backstory everywhere up until recently has been, oh, that's not possible. The average criminal doesn't have the capability and what have you. I talk with clients very regularly where they're still trying to catch up and understand, and I wanted to have a demonstration. So last month, Microsoft released a platform called Vibe Voice and immediately took it down because while it wasn't structured in its release to enable voice cloning, it was extremely trivial to enable that. I happen to have a copy from before they took it down, and helpfully a clip of Jason speaking, and with a little bit of moving things around, it's extremely easy to spit out a 10-minute, 15-minute podcast. So that was demonstration. And that now I think we should talk about the implications, because I think, what were your reactions overall?
Well, I was going to say, should I just like, this doesn't, like, I'm real. I'm a real boy.
Yeah.
I'm a real boy.
You got to wave your hand around the camera now.
Okay.
So I'll start. I thought it was great. It certainly sounded very realistic. I think the only tell for me was it just felt a little bit more, maybe more structured than we normally are, right? I want to say robotic because it certainly sounds just like us, but it has, the cadence isn't probably like we normally.
Less conversational. That's all.
Yeah.
But that was it.
I was amazed at the randomness of some of the sounds and the modulation of the voice to make it seem like you move closer to a microphone and back from a microphone, and it was like the realness of that aspect, and the fact that the tone of your voices and mostly your cadence and how you speak and the normal sort of temperature and the volume, it was amazing and scary and all of those other adjectives.
I mean, it should be.
Right. So you had us reading, at least you had me reading. I'm assuming you did the same for you, where we read the Boy Who Cried Wolf paragraph, so that you would get some of the voice nuance and be able to feed that in. But you could have taken the video or the audio and video that we created over the last 4 years and used some of that.
I absolutely could have. I took a shortcut because that particular passage has all of the components of English speech that are meaningful to reconstruct. trigraphs, digraphs, vowels, consonants, all of the relationships between them, the transitions, pauses, gaps, hard consonants, soft consonants, you name it. I have a small linguistics background, and I wanted to borrow from that in this context, and it was very useful just to have a paragraph to tee up. Now, I do candidly hope that I'm going to delete those clips hereafter and then not use them again, but it is extremely useful to demonstrate how straightforward it is, because I'm not doing this on exceptional hardware. I have an unusual intersection of skills that allow me to do this as a single individual. A team of, dedicated attackers would not have this be a very difficult hill to climb. The useful aspects that Eric's articulating, they're still all real. Of course they are. Yes. This is a situation where we are surrounded by double-edged swords, and occasionally they can be wielded for negative outcomes. Here, I hope it's been a useful sort of case study or demonstration for others that show we're not really being any sort of high sophistication, but it shows what could be done in the hands of someone who might do harm.
So I'm curious. When we did the podcast, right, Eric, it was your idea to sort of put the still image in there. It was certainly your idea to sort of construct the idea that we had some video issues. But ultimately, it's an audio-based podcast, and I'm wondering, are we at a spot where it feels like we can construct sort of reasonable video simulations at this point? Like, could that have been a video-based podcast with all the content that we generated in that 4 years?
I think it certainly could be. I haven't used them because, that's something I don't. That's where I really feel I'd be a little defensive about it. But there are things out there. I don't know how well they would interact together, but in a podcast where we're all in a different room and we're just talking to a screen, I could see that working, because there are apps on your phone where you can take a picture of yourself, it can clean it up, and then it can bring it to life, and you can make it say things and all that. I haven't played with those. I probably will end up playing with them at some point, but we probably could do that. We can probably do that. We can sneak one of those in and see if kind of a little Easter egg. Maybe the viewers will find something in the future that they're going to be on their toes. Like, I don't know,
Right now, it would be a bit of a lift. Let's just make sure that's understood. But in 6 months, the models that are coming out right now to do this on commodity gear are exceptional. They struggle at long form content, which is actually true of many voice cloning tools as well. This is what I used was uniquely built for long form adherence to a tone and the input voice. The video models are really good at short clips, not extreme length and continuity. Something with a lot of cutscenes, transitions, it'll work beautifully, but there's probably a need to edit together a bunch of different components to make it a cohesive whole. That's a different, kind of a workflow than we have, and I think that's a barrier at the moment, at least for casual use for this sort of thing. But my brother, in his particular line of work, records videos very regularly for his customer base. He speaks English, of course, but they have Spanish-speaking audience and companies that need their actual content. Some of the video modification tools that they've employed involve completely removing the mouth and translating into Spanish so that it's appropriate for the audience. And it is fabulous. Fabulous. It works entirely within the gesticulations and the tone and the cadence. We are very, very close. That's an example I'm citing just because it's a small part of the video. And soon enough, it will be the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Well, just like with the iFocus, there's a thing that I'm not sure which software uses it, but you can make it look like we all kind of look at our screen so you can tell we're not looking into the camera, but they have things that will fix it and make it look like your eyes are looking right into the camera.
Yeah.
Just
absolutely
creepy.
It is creepy.
Snapchat filters.
The
little cartoon faces that map your expressions in an iPhone. All of those are precursors to this being accessible to every single person on their device.
Mm-hmm.
We're just on the edge of that, and it's going to be very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I may need some of the AI tools to sniff out Stella the dog, who keeps photobombing into the
I was
scene.
totally thinking when I watched her walk in, I'm like, this is going to be our most popular podcast simply because like people love to see a dog. So yeah, there you go.
Well, there's her first appearance on CyberSound.
I mean, you could do it in video in stills now. Like you can take things out of the background in stills, and it speeds up these processes that we would do in the past in Photoshop. Take out power lines or take out this person in the back. Now you can even tell it what to do and type it in. We used to have this as video editors back in the day where there was a funny video on YouTube called the edit button, and it was like kind of teasing clients about how easy they think things are to do. Oh, change a wardrobe, change this, change that, type it in. And now I'm seeing software where you can actually do this. You can just tell it, zoom in at 3 seconds, pull back. It's crazy. And one more point to that, like Steven, you're talking about 6 months from now. Do you guys remember the Will Smith spaghetti video, the AI thing, and how wild that thing was? And then a year later, it's like perfect. You know what I mean? It's like how far we've come. Mm-hmm. I will not sleep on any of it. Like I believe we're going to be able to do all this like way sooner than we all thought we would be able to.
To bring the message back to the typical CyberSound way of framing it, these are good tools, but really start to equip yourselves to identify these things, or when you can't, because soon enough we're at that threshold.
Sure.
We're talking about a decent proportion of our viewership and audience likely not realizing that was a synthetic episode. Sorry, everybody. But try to develop techniques for checking. Ask, verify. These are the sorts of things that people need to do now. It's a very interesting world, but that's what's ahead of us.
It's certainly where I find myself going always is the potential risk of some of these. But with Eric in the room, I feel like there is some really interesting opportunities. I feel like you could have, you're on site, you're trying to shoot a commercial with a client or something like that. You could have the actors who are there read that paragraph to collect the audio sample, basically as risk mitigation, to be able to say, if something goes awry, I don't have to bother you later. I can actually now address it. So there's some real positive benefits, I think, to a potential client there. Now, of course, you don't want to send all those out because then we start to worry. But that's kind of a neat opportunity for you to say, I'm going to do all this work. If something isn't right, I can fix it, and you'll never be the wiser. Yeah.
So is that, like in New York City, if you're film set in New York City, you're always waiting on sound because there's a siren, there's this beeping horns, and now it's just keep going. Like we're fine. We'll take it right out in post. It just seems a lot of time and efficiency across the board. Yeah.
That's cool. So I guess I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to work with you for the last 4 years, Eric. I think I'm sure you enjoy to some degree sitting through these episodes. I also know you have the lead in and the waiting around, and we're trying to figure out like, hey, when are we going to get the next guy on?
It's all part of the process.
Yeah,
everyone's the same. It's always like this.
It's made what we've done easy. It's made, I think everything just looks professional. I think it always sounds good.
Absolutely.
Correct our errors in real time, which is always great. So I just want to take a minute to say thank you.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't also thank you for the delicious baked goods that normally accompany you when we're recording in person. I think that's an important thank you that needs to happen.
You gotta have some sweets in the office. Keep the sugar level high, get amped up for the performance.
The room's hot. The room's hot. We got to keep it moving. Yeah.
And
I appreciate you guys as well. And I feel like it's just a good cause because it's something that, it touches all of our lives. And I feel like a lot of people can get a lot out of this. There are times when it's very technical and insider, and I don't even know what's going on sometimes, but I have learned so much by being a part of this. And I think it's good to get that word out. So it's like, it's fun to do, but it's also, I think, a good thing. So I appreciate being a part of it as well.
Yeah. We're going to ask you to consult for us at some point because now you got the background. All right. Hey guys, thanks for joining. we do keep having, I'll call them AI or AI adjacent discussions. But honestly, there's so many use cases here, and there's definitely interest out there. And I think what Steve did for that last episode was pretty neat. And so it's just a good opportunity to have Eric on. So, I appreciate you taking a minute and being a good sport and jumping on like this.
Hey, no problem. I just cleaned my office, so it all worked out.
So we were good.
Kind of.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye now.
We'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to get in touch at Vancord on LinkedIn. And remember, stay vigilant, stay resilient. This has been CyberSound.